Here we go. Live. Set up. Am I here? Are we on? Are we live? Am I here? Are we on? Are we live? Live. Good. Okay. Oh crap. Okay. Hey David, I just saw the email. What was the question? Dennis Jensen. You knew? Welcome. We're just chatting. What's going on? Just quiet. Don't be quiet. Don't be bashful. Heckle. Come on. Let's do something here. I don't really have much for you guys tonight. I'm bushed. I was. What was I doing? Working on the shed, like all day on the shed. So this goes with the 262, so I'll leave that there. Get rid of all this stuff. Micro right angle rotary tools. You know, I don't know. I can tell you that the Marathon handpiece set up here while we're just talking. You guys see me now? The Marathon handpiece. While we're just talking about this, Marathon handpiece. Hang on. This is the straight. This is the straight tool. And this is the angled tool. And these heads strip out really quickly, like amazingly fast. So this one I think is about to poop out, but they're pretty. The head is pretty inexpensive. So far the motor's been good for $90. The next step up is probably to the CC Specialty handpieces. Would be my guess. Which I actually have no personal experience with, but I have a sneaky suspicion that is in my future. You know, if I get the job, I'm not going to have tons of time to be working on all this stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it's just pointless for me to buy that sort of thing. I don't know. So let's see what else is going on tonight. Am I going to need to do bearings anytime soon? No. So I don't need my press anymore. Leonard likes the thumbs up button. I can tell. Leonard, what time is it over there? And Dennis, please don't be quiet, buddy. Roger Robertson, sorry I missed you. Sorry. Roger, what's going on? Yeah, Dennis, don't be quiet. 2 p.m. Okay. What the heck was that? Oh, it's a hammer. Ah! Everything's going wrong tonight. So I was doing carpentry on the shed today. I'm not good at it. Every piece has to be fit. 2 p.m. on Sunday. It is nearly 8 o'clock p.m. Saturday. Great. It's all 262 stuff. We're waiting. So news on the tools is I talked to the machinist. Well, I got an email from the machinist tonight, something about the 8mm taps being garbage. You know, most of the taps that I buy are Chinese. The 8mm ones I bought were American-made taps. Junk, he says. Great. So he had to order some other taps. Hey, Larry. Told everybody we're not doing very much exciting tonight, but still everybody shows up. I'm cooked. I was out doing carpentry all day, and literally like with my. Actually, I gotta get the other planer. I was using hand plane for a lot of it. Not in there. Not in there. I'll mention it again. The chains that I have, the Cross 3/8 Low Pro 66 Drive Link. They're Low Pro 66 Drive Link. It's an odd size, but they're on clearance for $6 a piece. I have 7 of them. I need to sell the whole chute. Anybody want them? I'll ship them for nothing. Just $7 a piece. So it's at 46 times 7 is 42. So there you go. $42. Anybody? Logically compromised. Hello, Dr. Olson. I found it. You did a 2511 picking up 10-inch bar. Excited. Very cool. Let us know how it goes. So you got a. I really like the Steel 150, but I have not compared it to the 2511, so I'd be really curious. Supposedly, I hear good things about the 2511, so you know, maybe it's not a bad thing, you know. Chains, anybody? Anybody for chains? Okay, I'm gonna put them away. A bearing packed with grease on the floor. Gee, that's not so good. Oh well. Here we go. I may need this tomorrow. Made in USA. Stanley. Defiance by Stanley. I think I got this from my grandfather. He was a pretty cheap guy, so I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Malta chainsaw, yeah, cool. Hello. We work at Fisher's Island Millionaire clients. But I trust my research 2511, so it will be awesome, complete. Best of luck, man. I know so little about planes. But I'll probably need this tomorrow. Princess Chewy. What's going on over here? I don't know. What's going on? You tell me what's going on over there. I'm just hanging out with a bunch of dudes here. We have no particular agenda. Probably going to talk about chainsaws tonight in one form or another. I'm just looking over a hand planer that I have here that I'll probably have to use tomorrow on the shed. Oh. Gee, that's not the best. Don't look at no. We're going to talk about chainsaws. I don't know, but I'm prepared to talk about chainsaws. But I happen to have the planer. I'm just looking at it, going, I don't know. Bye, Princess Chewy. Sorry. Nothing exciting to see here. Not tonight, anyway. Anybody wants to comment, they're welcome to comment. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is going to take freaking forever based on the chink that I've got out of this. Should take it out of the Bridgeport and just go. This is just something to do while I'm hanging out with you guys. Yeah, the RC Fabrication. Hey man, you Husqvarna 440. Okay, first thing, do you know if a Husky 440 bar and chain will interchange on a 372? I don't think so. I think the 372 is large mount and the 440 is probably small mount. So probably not. Yeah, probably not. The chain is largely irrelevant. The question is, will the bar switch? Probably not. Any news on the tools? We could talk about. Oh yeah, parts. Yes, good topic. But the tools. The only news on the tools was I got an email today saying that something about having to reorder a tap because it was the M8x1 taps. I provided two at least. I got American-made taps, and as it turns out, they're junk. So. Anyway, so he's reordering a tap, I guess, or two, or whatever. I don't even know if I'm making any progress. So yeah, David. I want to talk about parts. That's a great topic. I forgot about that last night. We were just about to talk about that when I had to go. So, yeah, parts sourcing is an awesome topic. I'm doing it all the time, and I'm always having kind of a hell of a time. I'll give you a for instance. So, on these taps. I have had multiple instances of ordering taps from China and getting right-handed taps instead of left-handed taps, even though I ordered, in the description it says left-handed taps, and sure enough, right-handed taps show up. So, and it takes 2 weeks to order the taps and get them here sometimes. So that's just plain old annoying. So what I did was I ordered from a place, I guess it was in Florida this time. I ordered a couple of taps just to have extras, and sure enough, they ship from here in the United States. But you know what? I got right-handed tap. I think overall that's kind of the story with pretty much any part, whether it be chainsaw or otherwise. That's just the way that it goes. This is not an amazing planer, so I am not giving instructions on how to sharpen a planer because I really don't know. Whatever I'm going to do to this is going to be better than it was, so anyway. Yeah, the other left hand. Just dingleberries. Anyway, so that's just kind of the way that it is when you're ordering parts. How many times have I ordered parts and like been missing something? Or, you know, I'll order from people and something shows up and it's, if you're ordering used parts, something shows up and it's broken. If you're ordering new parts, something shows up and it's not the right one because they threw something, you know, somebody went down and picked things like this and that's what was in the bag. And you wait weeks for this stuff. So I don't have a single spot that I get parts from. There is no such thing, as far as I can see, as a one-stop shop. If we want to talk about used parts versus new parts, also very different topics. In general, if I need something, I generally go to eBay, because the one thing about eBay is that for the most part, it's in stock. Pretty much no matter what you're buying, you can almost be guaranteed that something's in stock if it's on eBay. The tricky part is with eBay, you have to look at the handling time. So you'll see extended handling times, and that means that whoever it is basically drop shipping stuff to you, which isn't cool with me. So what I'll do is I will look up to see where an item is coming from. So if it's from one state over, generally I assume that they're going to ship it and it's going to get to me in a very short order. One company I like dealing with, at least from automotive parts, is actually Rock Auto, and that's because they have a warehouse in the Bronx, which means I can order something and not pay expedited shipping, and it shows up next day, which is amazing. That's if it comes out of the warehouse in the Bronx, but on occasion it does, and it's really, really nice. But with chainsaw parts, eBay can be quite the source for stuff, but it depends on what you're doing. So far, if you're buying new OEM, Jack's Small Engines has been pretty good as far as price goes, but you don't know if it's in stock. The other place that I'm buying from now for new OEM stuff is SLE Equipment. I just discovered them. For the most part, they have some of the best prices on new OEM Husqvarna stuff. I fairly regularly order from HL Supply too. I'll put together an order or whatever, but I rarely order one thing. I'll order 10 things if I'm ordering from them, or if I'm ordering from them, maybe I'll wait for free shipping over $125, something like that. That can be killer. How does one determine bearing compatibility when ordering from other manufacturers? Roger, what do you mean? Just regular 6202s? Like give me a saw example that you're talking about. And yes, David, HL Supply now carries Husky stuff. So, obviously check them out for that. And if anybody wants to support me, the best way to do that, other than buying the tools, is to go to HL Supply with my link and click on my link and go to HL Supply and buy something. My affiliate link is in the description of most of my regular chainsaw videos, not my live stuff, but my regular chainsaw videos. So yeah, Roger, what specifically? Can you give me a specific example, and then I can address it? That are chainsaws. Uh, Bearings need to be open for chainsaws. I've actually done sealed bearings, and then like the seals come out or something stupid. So you don't want to do that. You want open bearings. I'll give an example here. Hang on. Just threw this one down here, and we'll give an example. So here's a 6202, same bearing. That 6202 essentially is the size that's in a Husky 372. Very common bearing. Here's a 6202. This is an open bearing. There's no shields. There's no seals on it. This is a 6202, but with shields on it. Now, this is a Nachi bearing. This is Japanese made. Now, is there a spec on here that means for chainsaws? Not specifically, other than, actually Ken could talk more about this, but not specifically other than probably you want C3 rated. It should say C3 on there somewhere. Or, yeah, these Nachis say C3. You can get higher spec bearings, but Nachi C3 is pretty much the only thing that I use today when I'm rebuilding chainsaws, because I buy them in a pack of 10 off of eBay, and they're pretty inexpensive if you do that. Does that help? I don't... The bearings need to be open, so I just pop the shields out. That way oil can get to them, fuel and oil mix can get to them while the saw is running. And C3 rated, and obviously the size has to be correct, and you have it made in the shade. Now, the other thing that has been a hot topic, at least on Walt's channel, is the fact that these are metal cage as opposed to nylon cage. The nylon cage bearings, when they fail, it's terrible. Now, when either fail, it's really bad, but I'm always suspicious, as is Walt, of the nylon cages being less durable than the metal cages. So the metal cages probably cause more damage if they fail, but the nylon cages are probably a little less durable than the metal. So just something to think about. Bearing's probably fine, but it was on the floor, so we'll leave it there. So I like getting nice bearings. It makes sense. Get nice bearings for the saw. Use them. They're not that expensive. Makes sense to have nice bearings in your saw, So I don't need to pay $12 for OEM bearings, or $30 or $50, whatever it is. You don't need to do that, assuming that they're regular 6202s or 6203s. So what if your saw is not regular 6202s or 6203s or any of those? The answer is buy a chainsaw that is. It's actually one of the... William, how's it going? It's actually one of the criteria that I use. I was just talking to a friend today. He actually has a toilet that is having issues, it's leaking or something like that. And it's some European... He's like, hey, it's some odd model, whatever. I'm like, why? if you get one that's American, one of the Kohler toilets or whatever, you're going to have parts availability forever. Why would you buy something that's so obscure that you can't get parts for it? Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for something you're using on a regular basis. For chainsaw collectors is different. If you're a collector, that's different, and you're doing collecting, that's fine. If you're actually planning on using the saw, might as well have something that's maintainable. We're just hanging out tonight, William. We were waiting for you. I'm literally just sharpening up a planer here, a hand plane. I need something to do while I'm waiting for you guys to ask questions. I really have no idea what I'm doing, so please don't, no heckling me about planing, because I really, whatever I do to this is going to be better than what it was. Is there a list of chainsaws that use 6202, 6203? RC fabrication, that is a great question. Oh, I love it. That is great. I don't know. Sometimes on eBay there are not the parts for the saw they say. Yeah, you're right. You got to be careful of descriptions. Okay, so from what I've seen, most Stihl chainsaws, at least the newer ones, end up using some combination of a 6202, 6203, and a proprietary bearing. So they'll use a proprietary bearing and seal on the PTO side, but they'll use a common bearing on the flywheel side. Just doesn't make any sense to me. I know that there are guys that have tried to explain widths and whatnot to me before, but it still doesn't make any semblance of sense. Your workboard is nicer than mine. Mine's OSB. Well, I have a sawmill, Roger, so this was on my sawmill. But anyway, so I don't know of a list of specific saws that use it. I can tell you some of basically the older saws, I think, are really the ones that use the same bearing on both sides. So I'm personally trying to focus on mostly having chainsaws that have the same bearing on both sides and preferably the same seal on both sides. A 372 XP is a little bit of an exception to that because it uses 6202s on both sides. The same seal is not quite right on either side, but it's sort of close. The the Husky 350s are a little bit unique. They use 6202s on both sides, but the seals are kind of funky. The seals kind of grab the bearings, and then it's the pseudo clamshell. So the seals are at least a little bit weird, but you can get them aftermarket. So it's not something that is completely impossible to find. What is impossible to find aftermarket are the PTO bearing and seal combinations for, let's say, a 346 XP, the 576 XPs, 385, 390s. Yeah, those type of the 562, I think, also. All of those bearing and seal combinations are like 30 some odd dollars from Husky, and you have maybe close to $40 sometimes. You don't have a choice there. You have to get those. And those drive me nuts. It doesn't make any sense. One of the reasons I like my 394s so much is they have 6203s on both sides and the same seal on both sides. Very simple, very straightforward design. In my opinion, it's definitely one of the highlights of the saw for me. Will you still come on live after you do the job Wednesday? Wednesday for sure. I actually get out early Wednesday. I don't know what the new job is going to mean. I really don't. Do Husky saws have different size bar studs than the steel? Yes, sort of. The steel, the base of steel bar studs is like 11 millimeters. Sorry, the base of the bar stud on a steel I think is 11 millimeters, and on a Husky it's 9. Either way, it's M8 by 1.25, I believe, is the thread pattern here. I think that's right. So you can actually get Husky bar adapters, so you can use a steel bar on a Husky, but you can't go back. You can't go from a Husky bar and put it on a steel because you'd have to mill out the channel or whatever, which I guess you can do, but you get the idea. Such a bad chink. I just don't know what to do with this. Good question though. Keep them coming. There's a chunk out of the leading edge of this that just gonna be hopeless, I think. See, I forget who sells the bar adapters. Where else do you look for used parts at? Mainly eBay. If not that, then Chainsaw has it. Chainsaw, CHAINSAWR.com. Chainsaw.com. I think that guy has quite a bit. The other place I'll look for used parts is guys on the forum, people that I've met or talked to. Um, so another way to look at that is there's a Facebook chainsaw group. There's a number of Facebook chainsaw groups. Um, I'm a part of, I guess, chainsaw. There's a chainsaw repair group. It's a left-handed thread. Just wanted to tighten that up. Very interesting. So I can go on there and ask if people have anything. Yeah, chain. We can't. Well, I'm not doing anything exciting. You don't want to watch. Um, it's really not relevant. Chain. The problem that I have with Chainsaw is that you can search for, let's say, Husky 394 parts, and a whole pile of stuff will come up, and you'll click on it, and it'll say out of stock. It'll click on it and it'll say out of stock, and some stuff is in stock and some stuff is out of stock, but it's not. You can't sort by stuff that's actually in stock. So you can click through 3 cylinder heads, and like none of them are in stock, and you're like, what the heck? Obviously, it doesn't have any, you know. And so that I don't know. I guess it's not updated as regular as it could be. By the way, I want to say thank you. I put together a Pharmatech 372 kit saw last night, watching your vids, cranked it up, runs great. Had to order bar and chain, don't have one that fits. Ah, it sucks. Sorry, buddy. Well, congratulations, you got a 372 running. That's awesome. And if you happen to have one that the coil's good and the carburetor's good, that's even better. Problem I always have is differentiating between whether you have a good coil or a bad coil, or a good carburetor or a bad carburetor, and figuring out the difference between the two. I've never found a good way to do it. Something doesn't work, try something else, basically. Kind of sucks. You know how I feel about bar and chain. I'm really starting to like my Sujihara bars. Boy, they are pricey, but I do like them. Yeah, I really like them. Plus, they look really cool at the get-togethers. RC Fabrication, did you do any port work to it at all, or just slap it together? Any mods? What'd you do? Did a base gasket delete? Okay. Like Ken was saying, here's Ken. Look at that. I was just about to say, like Ken suggested, cycle it when you have cycled it 3 times. Go and check your head bolts. Get an inline spark checker. You know, I think the spark checkers on the Huskies are useless. I've had Huskies that have spark and the coils are bad. So I can check for compression and spark easily. Check for compression and spark one way. Little bit of brake cleaner right down the throat. And if you get a pop, you have spark, you have compression. And you have timing. Ken, I'm sharpening a hand planer here, and I'm really not so good at it, so I'm literally just hanging out with you guys tonight. If anybody wants to ask questions, I'll go until this is sharp, hopefully. My machinist was having trouble with taps, so they had to order some more. Long story short. Yeah, it's going down. That's pretty cool, Ken. The Echo Spark toaster. Okay. Yeah, it's a Stanley plane. Only thing is this, it says Defiance by Stanley. I think my grandfather had it, but I'm not sure. Might be good, might not be. I don't know. What's my machinist name? No, I'm not telling you guys that. Not that I can't. It's just, you know. They are independent, two independent guys that have other jobs other than being machinists. Let's put it like that. And they tag teamed it. Lord knows why, but they did. Yeah, this one's got a pretty bad chink out of right out of the dead center. I don't know if I can sharpen it out. I can, but it would take a lot. So, Ken, you getting that 150 tomorrow? It's close. Keep going. $350 tomorrow. The $350. Sorry. I have the steel 150 on the brain. If it's metal, he should ask more money for it. Just letting you know. But it's probably plastic. So just so everybody knows, been going back and forth with Ken about a Husky 350 that he wants to buy. Just so everybody knows, if you're going to buy a Husky 350, the first thing you check for is whether not you don't check compression, you don't pull the muffler, you check and see if there is a metal intake clamp. If there is a metal intake clamp, then it is either I think one of the later models or somebody has rebuilt the saw. In which case it probably has higher value than if it has a plastic intake clamp. My opinion, if it has a plastic intake clamp, the saw is a parts saw. That's it. So you can run it and risk blowing it up at any given moment because those things come loose. There was a technical service bulletin on it back in like 2006 or 2008, something like that. I forget exactly when, but the Husky did not do a recall. They should have done a recall. They didn't. So as good as it might run, that is irrelevant. As good as the piston looks, that is irrelevant if it does. In my opinion, it's irrelevant if it doesn't have that metal intake clamp. If it's got a plastic intake clamp, no matter how good it runs, no matter what the piston looks like, no matter what the plastics look like, it's still a part saw because you have to pull the head in order to change out that clamp. And while you're in there, you're going to want to pull the whole thing apart and reseal the base, preferably with 1184 or Durco, and add a little leg to the muffler to make sure that the muffler doesn't flop on you. So I'm echoing, sorry. I'll turn that. All right, bring it. We'll cut some wood. Same with the 357 and the 359, 346 XP, all of those. Yes, David, good point. Yeah, David, we're all waiting for you to get a 394 a bar for that 394. I think it's going to take days worth of sharpening in order to get this down. Is that better, William? One more round here. Take up a collection. Yeah. You won't regret it. If you get one of those 32s, you're not going to regret it. By the way, just so I don't completely plug HL Supply, if you want to call Nate from Performance Outdoor Equipment there, David, he call him for chains for sure, but call Nate and see what he's got for bars that'll fit a 394. He can hook you up with something sweet for pretty good money. Yeah, the thing about the Sujis, it overall, no matter what it is, it just gives it a nice pop to it, you know. Even the Samuras, it doesn't have quite the same look as the Sujis. Yeah, I had to turn down the volume on my other phone here, so thank you for letting me know, William. Appreciate it. That chink is not going away. All right, let's do a little bit of fine polish here, and then that feels better. I am a terrible woodworker. Just awful. So don't take any woodworking advice from me. Uses Dremel. Yeah, I might. See how that goes. Well, it planes. May need just a little bit less. That'll do. Got a planer for tomorrow. Yay. Are you playing? Yeah, I'm playing the chainsaw. Yeah, obviously. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I missed a bunch of stuff. Got a fresh tube of 1184 curse. Amazon Red Hot Rod something. Yes. Well, you're going to need it for that 350. New degree wheel is coming Monday. Got to do what Walt does, Ken, obviously. Where do you get it? I got mine on Amazon. Yep. Okay. Yes, I'm playing the chainsaw. My Moroso one is too big. Okay, but enough for chainsaws. Yep. You have lots of degree wheels, Leonard, or planers? I bet there's lots of planes all over the place. How many people use these things anymore? All I'm doing is I'm boxing out some windows in my shed there, and I'm using pine, and I'm nothing straight, so I'm using the planer to kind of even things up. That's all. Yeah, I'll bet there's tons of planers in secondhand shops around here. Just have to look for them. How many do you need? Some guys collect them. I don't. I need one to use. That's it. I have a small one that I've been using. It's just a hand plane out in the shed. You just do that right down, and it works good. But if I need something a little more robust, be this. 18 people hanging out tonight. We're just hanging out. Nothing exciting tonight. Good thing we're close to New Britain. I gotta assume there's all kinds of planes. There's all kinds of tooling and whatnot in New Britain, I'm sure. Just tons of stuff right down the street. Andrew P. Olson, just hanging out. Andrew, aren't you supposed to be doing your homework? Andy, I got one of Grandpa's planers here, I think. Was just trying to sharpen it up, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty hopeless. Rest day. But I would be doing something if I had something, good to do here. I'm waiting on a cylinder head, and my guy that I've been talking to is really slow at getting back to me about that sort of stuff. So, some parts suppliers are Johnny on the spot, other guys are not. A A lot of guys are not. The 262, I'm waiting on my tools to put that thing together. Once we have my tools, then we can put it together. The 394, we can do port work, but ideally I need to get some more bits, some burrs, whatever, tool bits for my Marathon, plus other handpiece parts. Yes, there's another Olson. Andy's my cousin. Yeah, how much is a Stanley playing at Lowe's, Andy? One of these things. I'd guess like $75. Leaf blowers are done. Yeah, they all ended up working. They ended up being way more expensive than they were worth, pretty much, but to fix. I told my guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't have time." So I was like, "Okay." He doesn't have time to go back and put them in for warranty or whatever. So we'll fix them, whatever. The oldest chainsaw I got, yeah, $75. Yeah. The oldest chainsaw I have, Leonard, is probably my 394s, but they're all rebuilt, so they're all fresh. If you asked me how old is this chainsaw, this is the 394 we're building, how old is it? Well, you can look at the serial number here. It says 2011. Actually says 395 on it. Is this a 395? No, it's not. Is it a 2011? Nope, it's going to be a 2018 model. Actually, 2019 by the time we're going. Yeah. So, yeah, remember, Leonard, most of what I do is work with trash saws. That's what I do. I find trash saws and tear them down and rebuild them. So, how old are they? Who knows? Actually, so the 394 is probably from the early 90s. The 262 and the 272 that I have might be older than that. I don't know. But again, fully rebuilt. So, it's tough to put ages on things if it's rebuilt. Same flywheel does not fit 394 and 395. The flywheel and crank combinations fit the chassis, but the 394 flywheel goes with a 394 crank. The 395 flywheel goes with a 395 crank only. But those, if you use the right combination, it goes in the case. The cases are identical pretty much no matter what. What is a little different on some cases? Some cases will have the holes here for there's a guard that you can get. Other cases don't. For the most part, the cases are the same. Otherwise, I think some didn't have all of the anti-vibe holes or the limiter screws or whatever, but I'm not sure about that. Sean Carr might be the guy to ask about that. Pistons are different too. Quad port on the 395. The 395 piston has positioning pins that are actually closer towards center. 394 positioning pins are off to the side a little bit for the rings. So the 395 positioning pins are better, but the 395 piston won't work in a 394 because the skirts are different lengths, I think. So, Andy, I was working on the shed all day today. I was out there, and of course, at 4 o'clock, it's dark, not to mention chilly. So I quit at 4 o'clock, and then I've been inside hanging out ever since. What's the deal with the 1-ring versus 2-ring pistons on Huskies? You know, I like the single ring 372s. I think it's a 371 piston technically, but it works perfectly, and you don't have to fiddle around with the second set of rings. I think they work fine. I don't see the point of double rings really. There are probably plenty of people that do, but I don't see the point of double rings. Single ring works fine. Kids just walked in. Hey, Katrina, cousin Andy joined us live. Yeah, Andy's on. You mean how? Yeah, he's on live right now. Yeah. Well, he's on my live chat. I'm live and he's chatting. Yeah, I hate with the double rings. Right, Andy says he's live in person. Sorry, just blew Katrina's mind, Andy. Have you heard of Red Max chainsaws? So Red Max has been a name in blowers for a long time. They're going to try to make a name in chainsaws. I think they bought. Did they buy Johnson Red? Is that how it went? Owned by Husky. I forget what exactly happened there. Yeah. So Red Max is going to try to make a name, or Husky is going to try to use the Red Max. I forget. I don't understand it. I don't know why they would be doing that. I don't know what niche they're trying to fill. So we also have Makita Dolmar going Red Max now. Husky, Steel, Echo. I mean, how many brands of chainsaws do you really need? I don't know why they would be doing that. How do you break into a market like that? Price point? Right, Electrolux owns like all kinds of stuff. 19 people, and we're just chatting. This is hilarious. So I bought a gimmicky tool. I'll show you guys this. I did buy a gimmicky tool off eBay. This is the opposite of this. So you have effectively hey, this is a Morse tool. Check that out. No, not Morse tool. Sorry. This is a Morse 5 taper. Something like that. Anyway, this is a deburring tool. This is also a deburring tool. This is technically an external deburring tool. This is an internal deburring tool. I have not seen readily available external deburring tools. And what I wanted them for was the rods, which end up with burrs. Right, and Shindaiwa. Sorry, Greg. Yes, Shindaiwa and Poulan. Obviously, there are other brands, but I just don't know how you're going to make inroads against the established brands. You know. think it works pretty good. I've tried deburring these on like the grinder. It's a pain. But now, with that, just take the edge off. And you can hold this piece of cake. Kevin Barry. Good day. Nearly midday here, 28 degrees. Trying to kill my old steel FS80. Might outlast me. Our Red Max parts came in a Husky box. Yeah, we had flurries here too. Was flurries here. Nice and warm. That's great, Leonard. Fantastic. It was friggin' cold today. You know, it didn't feel like it was snow cold, but it definitely snowed. And it was just sunny and then flurries and then sunny and flurries. It was a weird day. Really weird day. Interesting. Go get some sleep, Andy. You take care, okay? Thanks for coming on. 32 rain Rochester, too windy. Yeah, it's been windy. 2017, 2018 have been like the windiest years I can remember. Really windy. What's the most I've ever had online? I think we had 40 one night. We had 40 or 41 on one night. Adirondack Steel would be able to tell you. He remembers. David, 46? Really? Wow. I had to go that night. Is Red Max has been really known for blowers. They've made good blowers. Again, so I've heard. I have no personal experience with them. I have to say I just have no. You know, you'd think that they'd carry on the John Surid line of chainsaw, which was good, but who knows? Can you buy aftermarket? Probably not right now. It's a great line of thinking, though. You know, what's the aftermarket support like? Well, for a 372, the aftermarket support is awesome. Is it all super high quality? No, but the aftermarket support is awesome for 372s. You can get parts like from now until Kingdom Come. Lots of leaves left in the building today. 46, yeah. Cold. So, yeah, I love the line of thinking. You know, what's the parts availability like? Actually, I was using my planer a lot today. I have a Leneve planer, North State, or whatever it's called. Basically, it's a Taiwanese copy of what I think is a jet planer, but I'm not sure. It's like 30 years old. So I called, before I went to buy it, I was going to get it on Craigslist. Before I went to buy it, I actually called Leneve and down in like North Carolina, and I was like, well, you know, I'm about to go pick this thing up. It's going to cost me, you know, $400. Is it worth it? And can I get parts? And they said, what parts you need? We got it all. I was like, okay. And they're like, yeah, for that kind of money, go buy it and then send it down here. Okay. I guess I'll go pick it up. So I did. $86 Fahrenheit there. Yeah, it was like 46 today, maybe colder. Where's everybody from? Good far. Okay, I'll put mine in. PA. Queensland, Australia, Washington and Idaho border. Yeah, David, I was noticing on your, I was like, he's from what town? And it went from Washington, the song went from Washington to Idaho. And I'm like, wait a minute. He must be close to the border or something weird or whatever. And I looked on the map, and as it turns out, the post office that it went to secondarily is right on the Idaho border. I thought that was interesting. All you ham radio guys are crazy. If there ever was a group of certifiably nuts people, the ham radio guys are for sure it. But you guys make all us Chainside guys look like rank amateurs. It's true. You could be like a super hardcore anything, and you could be into cars, you could be into chainsaws, you can whatever. But yeah, the ham radio guys put everybody else to shame. Groupies. Ham license plate. Yeah, Tom Friedrich, Pennsylvania. Yes, I am a doctor. Well, yeah, I am. So I I am a dentist, and yes, it definitely puts me in a interesting group of people. We're an eclectic group. Dentists all have really odd hobbies, but the ham radio guys are really uh, guys are crazy, crazy. You guys are into it. For like an old chainsaw, you gotta find parts for it. Nice, but yeah, one of the things that's coming up, Brandon, certainly, one of the things that I'm very excited about the aftermarket is the fact that where the big companies have said no, it's not worth it to produce parts anymore. The aftermarket has kind of stepped up in some instances, and I think with the advent of 3D printing, you're going to see a whole lot more of that, which is very, very interesting because then you can just print the plastic parts without too much trouble. Sometimes you can custom machine some of the metal parts and cobble things back together. I think that's cool. Yeah, no harm getting the OEM stuff where you can, but if it's not available anymore and the aftermarket has it, go for it. Gotta keep your saw running, right? That's okay. Okay, it's 9 o'clock already. I need to go to bed. I need to go chill out. Um, we didn't even do anything tonight. Other than get my planer sort of okay. Um, we have teeth just like the next guy. No, not like the next guy. Often the next guy doesn't have teeth. Why doesn't anybody make the 394 head? It's probably not worth it. Everybody's converting over to the 395 anyway. At least that's probably the wisdom. So, and the 395 is a more advanced head with the quad porting, and it's not that expensive. So, why not convert over to the 395? That's just I know it doesn't really work for me, but that's probably what the companies are thinking. Go fix some blowers, Ken. 395, yay! So, okay, I'm gonna call it. Anybody want the chains? Chains? Anybody? I'm gonna keep mentioning this until somebody buys them. What's on the agenda tomorrow? I don't know. We talked about parts a little bit tonight, about availability of parts, because I think that was a good topic. I think we can work that topic a little more tomorrow if you want. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more of a tools update tomorrow. And what else? I'm waiting on stuff. I'm waiting on stuff to show up, and I'm really kind of hoping, maybe we can do a little bit of porting on the 394 if I get some ambition up. I still need to order more burrs for that so I can do a little better with the porting, but whatever. So, sorry, 20 people now. Finally, every time I go to take off, suddenly a bunch of people show up. I gotta go. I'm bushed. Good night, guys. Thanks so much. Be safe. And here's my email if anybody wants it. If they want to inquire about tools or whatever. Very cool. Good night, all. Thank you so much. I'm going to bed. Night. Thanks.